Oh my
Hello.
God, we're back once again for another episode of A Conversation with Kely. Episode, who knows at this point, but guys, we are deep into Traitors Season 2 at this point, as you know. I believe they said we've hit the halfway point because I think there's going to be 11 episodes altogether,
yeah.
not including the reunion.
Yeah, I think
So,
isn't 11 going to be the reunion?
yeah. So
then
10
there's
episodes.
only 3 more actual episodes then.
Yeah, so only three more left. But we're here to discuss episode 7. Kind of a weird episode, not gonna lie. We'll talk more.
It was still good, just not as good as the others.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it in a little bit. But before we do, I'm here, my lovely co-host Allie. How are you doing on not Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day?
I'm doing well. I just a little bit ago I took Magoo for a walk. And then just been chilling at home, nothing too crazy. And then I'm seeing Lisa Frankenstein tonight.
Solid
And
film.
I also saw Argyle and the Anyone But You Valentine's Encore yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not doing too much, just kind of hanging out. Got work stuff going on, but I'm also trying to like catch up on stuff. So, we're vibing. It's like snowing like crazy out right now. So, that's a fun time. But yeah, other than that, we're here to discuss this episode. And I mean, I'll just get my thoughts real quick. I was very pumped for this episode. The way things left off last week, I was really anticipating this was going to be like a really exciting episode. And don't get me wrong, there were definitely moments that were, fun to watch and moments that, really got like your blood pumping and things like that. But I think it's pretty safe to say, compared to other episodes this season, this was definitely not as good. This is definitely the weakest episode of the show. It's not a bad episode. It's not even an okay episode. It's actually a pretty good episode. It's just not nearly on the level of the other ones for me.
Yeah, like it was still a really good episode. But it was definitely the one I think that I rated the least. I rated it a B plus, and then the rest of them I've rated at least an A minus.
Yeah.
It's still good, just obviously sadly no elimination, no banishment, no murder. But I mean there are still like really good moments for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way to describe this episode, someone compared it to like Zombie Week in Big Brother 25. I would definitely not put it on that level because with that, they literally had a week of no gameplay. This is just like a round of nothing, basically. But it's also not like they weren't doing nothing. They did do something here. They weren't just sitting around. So I will give them credit in saying like they did give them something to do. It just was not the something that I was looking forward to. So it wasn't quite on the level that I was hoping it would be. I think especially since episode 3, I mean, we have just been on such a high streak with this show. I mean, I was ready to say this is one of the greatest seasons of reality television that I've ever watched. And that still could be the case. It's just this episode was not quite on the level of what we've been seeing. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. So we start off with, as we know last week, we left off with Parvati and Phaedra. Parvati decided to recruit Peter, and she's talking to Phaedra about how they will have to each have a new sworn of allegiance due to having a new recruit. Oh my God, Mike Jones. Timeless Mike motherfucking Jones. Let's not get it wrong this time. Yes, it is our distortion Rob goddess. That sucks. You came so close. You literally got 5th place, and that was definitely very sad to see. But we love Mike Jones so much and always love getting to see him watch.
He's just a king.
Yes, very much. But suddenly, you know who they hear a knock at the door? It's not Mike Jones, unfortunately. I wish it was, but honestly, it turns out to also
he's gonna be the intruder, and he's gonna be he's just gonna become a he's not even gonna be recruited. He's just gonna become a traitor.
Yeah, he's just gonna join the show, and he's just gonna be a traitor. Exactly, Mike Jones for season 3. Like you hear him, Peacock, get him for season 3. But but yeah, they hear a knock at the door, and they expect it to be Peter. It's not Peter. It turns out to actually be Alan, who tells them Peter has refused their
Ugh.
attempt at recruitment.
Ugh.
What do you think about this?
I'm really disappointed and annoyed because I was really excited for him to accept because it would
Yeah.
have been so good and so
Oh,
fun
yeah.
to watch, so entertaining, and like, why? You just did the lame route.
Yeah, I just feel like Peter, the thing that annoys me with this, it's not so much that he turned it down, it's that the way the show has been editing Peter up to this point made it seem like he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. Like if he has to switch allegiances, he'll do that. If he has to turn on people, he'll do that. Like all he cares about is winning. He's been saying that for the past 2 episodes. And so for him to turn this down was just such a huge surprise and not in a good way. It was a real big disappointment because I was just so excited to see what he was going to do as a traitor, see the havoc that he'd have to wreak, see him have to turn on his allies. Like I was so excited to see that happen, or see him, maybe try to work with Parvati and then not work with her, or Parvati try to work with him and then not working out. Like there were so many possibilities. Him turning it down was just not something I thought was going to happen. I thought it was pretty obvious that based on what we saw last week, he was gonna, accept this no matter what.
Oh yeah, I thought
Unfortunately,
he was
that's not the
going
case.
like,
And
literally, they did such a good job at editing that it looked like he was going
yeah,
to, but he decided to be lame.
yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't really want to root for Peter anymore because he chose the lamest way to play the game. Like what he says, especially later on, really annoys me. So yeah, it's very hard to get excited about him now. I feel like the way that they were hyping him up in the last 2 episodes, it made it seem like he was this great strategist. I don't think he was at all. I think Peter had this one great idea, but
Yeah.
he's just an average player beyond that. I don't think
Mhm.
he's this amazing strategist that is going to go all the way to the end and he's going to be one of the best faithfuls to ever play this game. I don't think we can say that anymore
I
just
guess he's
because of the
just a
fact that
I guess he's just a bachelor.
yeah, literally. I think we're just seeing that it was just a fluke. He had this great idea and that was just kind of it. So, yeah, I was just really disappointed to see. I was really looking forward to seeing what damage he would do as a traitor, and unfortunately, we're never going to get to see that because he decided, yeah, I'd rather just take the easy way out, and that's always really boring to see.
Yep.
So, yeah, we follow back with Phaedra and Parvati. They're both really shocked and disappointed. Parvati thinks that he's a real dummy for this, which he is, and guesses
Mhm.
that he doesn't want to win that badly. Alan says that things have gone from bad to a lot worse for them this evening. He also informs them that there will be no murder tonight and everyone will show up at breakfast tomorrow. I don't really like this. I think that this should have
No.
been I saw people say this on Twitter. They do this twist, I guess, in some of the shows called blackmail, where it's if you don't accept, you're just murdered. And I feel like they should have just done that here.
Ooh.
Just
Yeah,
have Peter be murdered,
that would've been pretty spicy to watch.
yeah, because we've now gone 2 weeks with no murder, no, with no murder. One of them was unsuccessful. One of them didn't happen because somebody got recruited. It just makes things a lot less exciting to watch when there's still a lot of people left. And still on episode 7, and there's still a lot of people left. There's 12 people left in the game still. So I don't know. I have to imagine that they did this because of Deontay leaving. I think that's probably why we didn't see something like that happen here, because I was just really confused as to why they didn't still have them murder or whatever.
They should have, even if it was really quick too. They could have just made it a really quick decision.
Yeah, definitely. But unfortunately, not the case here. So Phaedra warns Parvati that could very well be her last meal. She says she's sorry. Parvati thinks this is very bleak. She's shocked and devastated, but it's a test of a true traitor's character because of what she does when her back is against the wall. She will rise from the ashes like a phoenix and find a way through and march on. And I was really worried for Parvati at this point. I was like, oh my God,
Me too.
this actually could be the end for her. And then we get this moment with Peter, him trying to rationalize why he didn't do it. And what I thought he was going to say here is I thought he was going to say, I've enjoyed playing the game as faithful. I don't really want to, change that up. I want to win the game for the rest of the faithfuls. that I would have respected. If he would have just said that, that would have been fine. But what he says instead really just makes me not like Peter. Because he says he's a faithful till the end, and he wants to be part of winning this the right way.
Like, what?
And there's no way in the world where
It's
he can betray his team looking into their eyes.
It's literally called the Traitors, not the Faithfuls.
Yeah, literally. Like, this is the part that really annoys me with him, is that it's like, there's no right way to win the game. And if there is a right way, it's not being a faithful. It's being a traitor and slitting people's throats. Like, that's how you win the game. How can you say that you're willing to do whatever you want to win, and then saying, no, I just want to win the right way? Like, that just really pisses me off. Really just shows me that, like, Peter doesn't really respect the traitors and things like that. And it's just really disappointing to see, because like I said, I want to root for Peter. I was liking the chaos that he was creating. I was liking, the stuff he was doing as a faithful. I didn't like that it was at Parvati and Dan's expense.
Like, he went from like the nice guy to like, oh yeah, he's gonna be this villain who's like a mastermind, and then he just goes to being lame.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just really disappointing to see the way this turned out. But he says, he doesn't want to betray his team, looking into their eyes, and after having given them his word, there's no way he could do that. Which, I mean, I guess I understand that, but that's also the fun of being a traitor. And also,
I get it, but like, he also wants to win.
But the thing is, he also doesn't necessarily have to do that. Like, you don't have to turn on your allies. Shereé did this brilliant thing last season where she had people that were with her. They weren't traitors. They were faithfuls. And she was able to work with them. She was able to do what she wanted. The only time she had to kill them was when she had to murder Stephanie. And that was something she really didn't want to have to do, but she did. And I think Peter, it could have worked out the same way for him, where it's like, you don't necessarily have to go after your 5. You could have easily gotten to a point where they were the only people left, and then you would have had to turn on them, and then it's no blood on your hands at that point because you're the only traitor left. Like, he didn't necessarily have to turn on them. So again, just the way he looks at the game, he looks at it in such like a binary and boring way, and I'm just not really here for it. I didn't really like this rationale at all. It honestly made me like Peter a lot less.
Like, it's just like, sir, I still like you as a person. It's just, and I do want to root for you, but you're just trying to win the like boring way.
Yeah, I don't think I can root for him after this. But Phaedra says that Peter is a real piece of work. Parvati knew Parvati knew that, so she's gonna have to work out the work that she has. Parvati thinks that Peter is definitely dangerous and clever. He's a full-on bloodhound, so she's definitely going to have to work with him. And then we get to the breakfast here, which I will say, this is a very exciting breakfast. There was a lot of things that went down here that I really enjoyed. The first, 30-ish minutes of this episode are great. Like, generally fantastic. Could have maybe been the best episode of the season, but we'll talk about why it wasn't a little bit later on. So... the first to arrive are Bergie and Phaedra. He says to her that he doesn't think they will murder Kate, so he thinks that it will be Peter, Trishelle, or John. She asks him if they'll break his crew, and he says yes, and agrees that they're like a gang and is not going to lie about it. And the way that Bergie is going about it, that is what I respect. Like, Bergie recognized that, like, yeah, we're a threat. If they break us up, it makes sense. Like, if they have to at this point, I'm fine with it. Like, Bergie doesn't piss me off because at least he recognizes that, like, yeah, we're a threat. And I wouldn't be surprised if they picked us off. Like, he's not getting upset about the fact that they're doing it.
Oh, yeah. Like, Bergie's also just gives very, like, wholesome vibes.
Yeah, he always has. Unless he's yelling at Dan. That's a different story. So
he's like, he has this like fire in him game-wise, but he also is very wholesome.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, Phaedra says that her nerves are everywhere right now because last night Parvati's decision was the worst ever, and she's just hoping it doesn't come back on her. I will say, I don't think Parvati's decision was like the greatest decision, but I think it was like the most entertaining decision, and I think that's really what it came down to. I don't think Parvati cared about what's best for my game. She cared more about what's going to be the most entertaining, what's going to be the best, what's going to create the most chaos. And I mean, she wasn't wrong. Like, that would have been the
Yeah,
most
for sure.
entertaining outcome, but unfortunately he declined. So,
Yep.
So the next to arrive are Shereé, Kate, and MJ. Shereé brings up how they finally got a traitor out, and Bergie tells them that his group all assumed Dan was a traitor. The number 2 is Parvati. But after that, they truly have no idea and are back to square one. MJ says they don't need to worry about that and should just take it one at a time. So the next to arrive are CT, Parvati, and Sandra. Parvati says that she's not sure what's going to happen at breakfast and if Peter will say that he was attempted to be recruited and declined. But either way, she's hoping he will have a target on his back if he talks about the recruitment. So she's ready for whatever comes out of his mouth and is ready for battle today. So Bergie says he's not shocked to see Parvati, as she's likely everyone's number 1 suspect and is up for banishment today. Kate then asks them who they all think got murdered. She has a really bad feeling that it's John, and Phaedra says that she's unsure. Just then, Peter and John walk through the door, who they're all excited to see. Phaedra mentions to Peter how he's alive, because Peter was literally saying the previous night that, like, oh, I'm done. The traitors are murdering me. There's no question about it. So I like that Phaedra was, like, kind of shading Peter there, where it's like, wait, you're alive. What do you mean? Like, you said you were going to die, and he's very much not. So Peter says he believes that Parvati's a traitor, that she gave him the recruitment letter. He's been extremely aggressive on her, and he will not be letting up whatsoever. And this is not a great episode for Peter, I will say.
Not at all.
He really does not do himself any favors in this episode.
He's kind of just, like, acting all, like, cocky and like he's the leader of his alliance.
Yeah. So he then whispers to John that there's something he's going to have to talk to him about later. So it's now between Trishelle and Kevin, in which Bergie thinks it's going to be Trishelle. They then hear a knock, and in walks Kevin and Trishelle. And so they're all confused. They're not sure what happened, why no one was murdered. But MJ then deduces that, well, everyone's here, so someone was probably recruited, and Sandra agrees on that.
Yep.
The party then notices that Peter didn't say a word about the recruitment, but thinks if he's clearly trying to hold on to what he turned down, she can manipulate him into it. So Alan then walks in, tells them he will not be answering where there's a full house in this castle. They can figure it out on their own, especially since they have a mission to get to. He asked them a philosophical question for them on what happens when a reality star falls in the forest and no one's able to hear it, and if that makes a sound, and they all assume they're going to have to be running through the woods. So Parvati says the game is still afoot, even though there is a lot of suspicion on her. Now they can throw some suspicion onto Peter. She knows there's a way for the traitors to reclaim their power. All she has to do is survive and stay in the game. So she immediately then asks them who may have been recruited and asks Peter if it was him. He says that they shall see. I love the back and forth between these two, even though I'm not a fan of Peter right now. I really do enjoy the rivalry between Parvati and Peter.
I just want Parvati and Peter also just to, like, succeed, because I just want their rivalry to continue, because it's so entertaining.
Yeah, me too, honestly. So Kate says not to judge any faithful because they could have declined, and Bergie agrees that no one's owning up to anything. And Parvati asks them to raise their hands if they got the letter, and everyone goes silent. Nobody wants to fess up to it, so she says that she knows someone is lying, and I just love that Parvati's at this point where it's like, listen, I know that, like, my days are numbered at this point. I know that I don't have much left in the game. Let me just be a mess. Let me just cause all the chaos.
Honestly, she's just like, as much as, like, she is a good player on Survivor, she definitely is messy.
Yeah, she's not great.
So she's not great at the Traitors, but I just keep her around for the entertainment, because she is, like, amazing at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly the definition of, like, I know that I'm on my way out and I'm, like, unbothered by it. So let me just cause all the, let me just, like, wreak all the havoc that I can on my way out. And I think she's just doing that so well. Not really playing the game well, but she is doing this part well. So
definitely.
So Peter says to Parvati that because he's no longer here, it must mean that she isn't a traitor. And she says that's a real change of tune. He asks if that's what it means. She says that she doesn't know because he's been gunning for her for a very long time, and that this is a really big change of heart, that immediately that's not what's that's going on. Peter says he has no plans to reveal the information about the recruitment today at breakfast. His plan is to see if there's a way to play it later on in order to get Parvati out, because it's either him or her. I honestly think he should have just revealed it. I think that would have honestly done himself. He would have been in a much better position if he just said, like, hey, I was recruited. I declined it. Like, I think that would have turned out much better for him. He would have really gotten the numbers further onto Parvati if he did that. But again, he wants to play this like alliance game. And
He just wants to play like this heroic game.
Yeah, it's just a really, but he's not a hero. He's more of he's more a coward than anything.
Yeah.
He's not willing. He's not willing to actually play the game. Like, that's what's frustrating.
He's like, I just want to play for my alliance.
Yeah. So
like, he's basically the leader, and the others are his minions.
So Parvati says she's done with his smug little smile, looking at her like he's got it all figured out. Today, she's got her predatory headband on, and she's coming right for that bachelor, and we love her for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to easily, I think, the most exciting part of this episode. Post-breakfast.
This is so good.
Yeah, this is like this was easily like the stuff to get excited about. Was everything that happened here?
Breakfast. It's so good. Peter feels his time is limited, and he needs to convince his group of faithfuls to take Parvati out, and they cannot miss. Peter goes to talk to his alliance and once again shuts the door so no one can hear them and tells them swiftly that what he is going to say will be shocking, but he has their backs till the end, and then tells them he was recruited but declined it. He didn't want to say anything in there because he has a plan to protect all of them for at least a couple of nights, and says they have to banish Parvati after they do it. After they do so, it will be revealed that she is a traitor, so it will be 2 traitors in a row. As he's talking, Phaedra tries to come in, and he tells her to give them a second.
The audacity in Peter to, like, literally just, like, shut the door, not tell anybody. But here's the thing, even after he's told them his secret, why do you need to keep people from coming in? You literally have them you've told them what you needed to tell them. When he's done with that, like, there's no reason he shouldn't be letting Phaedra in. If you want to get the numbers onto Parvati, you got to tell people the plan. Like, it's not going to work if you only tell your group. It's like what's happening right now is that they're feeling like high and mighty because they've all like voted together. They all trust each other at this point. But when you're completely excluding like half the castle, it's not going to work out. That's not how you play this game.
Phaedra says Peter and his pals, or as she calls them, the Peter pal, which is true.
I love that.
It's so funny. Have their secret meetings and dismiss people from the rooms, and she's not happy about this at all, which, I mean, I don't blame her. Like, she's like, no, I'm done with this.
Yep.
Phaedra goes to the non-Peter pals and tells them about this and that they told her to give them their privacy, and MJ says she needs to go over there. Oh, this part's so good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, MJ's another one that I don't think has been playing very well, but I honestly kind of loved her in this episode. Like, just her anger and frustration, and it just, like, really, like, boiling over was great to see.
Like, she's not a good player, but she's very entertaining this episode. Yeah. Trishelle says to the group that she wants to keep Parvati because she's like a wounded bird, doesn't have anyone on her side, but Phaedra has everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this last week that she was starting to get suspicious of Phaedra and we weren't sure if it was because of what Dan said or if she already felt that way. But this episode pretty much confirms why she feels this way, and Allie's going to read why she feels this way.
Trishelle says her thought is Dan called out a traitor, and she feels Phaedra is one, and feels she is looking the most suspicious.
Yeah, so immediately she's trying to do something about Phaedra. Do you think this was the right call for Trishelle to make, for her to do something rather than wait a bit?
I mean, it's not shocking that she goes for her.
Yeah, it's not.
But, like, it's not. I mean, she's the only one in her alliance who actually feels that way, so, I mean, it's not exactly good, but it's also, like, not shocking.
I think it was probably a better call to wait, like, just try to gain a little bit more footing into your alliance, really, like, try to find someone that, like, will be on your side no matter what. Hell, even let Peter, like, start taking the fall for things. I think Trishelle thinks that she's in a better position than she is, and she's really not. Like, yes, she's in an alliance that trusts her, but, like, Bergie and Peter and Kevin, like they're the ones that like have the most like sway right now. Even John, I would say. Trishelle's like very easily the fifth person in that
Yeah,
alliance. Like she just does not
definitely.
have the power that the others do. So like while I appreciate the effort, I don't I don't love that it's at Phaedra's expense. But
Yeah.
also like she just doesn't have the say to do that.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. Like, she should just waited. She says to them that the Bravo people will all vote together always. Then Phaedra, if she stays, she will all have the Bravo people, and Sandra and CT are huge swings. Peter says to trust him and hear his plan, or this plan that they have to banish Parvati tonight, and Trishelle feels it's too risky and her plan is better. Well, yeah, because she's literally working with men that don't give her the chance.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like if she really wanted to make something like this happen, she needed to try to, I think, prioritize other people that aren't her alliance.
Mhm. MJ tries to then come in, and Kevin tells her to give them all a second, and MJ asks them why. And Bergie says she is going to love their plan, and she says she doesn't want to be left out of something. And Peter says he promises her she won't be. And Bergie says it will only be a minute.
And I love that MJ, like, she doesn't just accept it. She's like, wait, why do you want me to just like stay here? Why do you want me to leave? Like, why can't I
Hmm.
stay here? I thought that
Yeah,
was great.
she's like, I don't want to be left out.
Yeah. I
So
really feel
good.
like MJ would have gotten into a fight with someone in a round table, and that's one of the reasons why I am so pissed we didn't get one in this episode.
I mean, Kevin doesn't really like her because he did call her annoying in a past episode.
Yeah. Well, Kevin gets into fights with like everybody that's not his
Yeah.
alliance.
Oh
So
yeah.
I feel like it might have happened.
MJ then runs back to them and says they told her to leave. Sandra is starting to think Peter is a traitor due to
Yes.
how much chaos he causes, and he is doing more harm than good, having an alliance of 5 people, so it's a numbers game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Sandra, here's the thing, like, yes, Sandra isn't correct on Peter being a traitor, but Sandra's kind of showing that, like, that's not really what being a faithful is all about. You're not just trying to catch the traitors. What you're trying to do is position yourself in a way where you're never going to be murdered, where you have
Mhm.
people on your side that are going to trust you. So even if you know who the traitors are, which I do, I've said this before, I think Sandra knows that Parvati's a traitor. I think the reason
Yeah.
she's not doing anything about it is because she knows that that benefits me. Like it makes sense to keep Parvati in. Why would I turn
Mhm.
on Parvati when that's losing allies? And I think
Yeah.
Sandra is just recognizing that perfectly here. Like this is the way you need to play the game. And that's why the way Peter's playing is so frustrating to me. It's like, I want to be the savior. I want to take out all the traitors. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do after that? Like when there's only one traitor left in the game and you can't figure it out, what's going to happen? You're going to be next, is what's going to happen. So it's like Sandra is recognizing that it's not necessarily about taking out the traitors. It's about recognizing like who you can trust and putting yourself in the best position so you can then get to the end and take out the traitors yourself. And I think she's doing a masterful job. I honestly think right now, yes, Phaedra's playing the best traitor game. I think Sandra might be playing the best game out
I
of
think
everybody in the house.
Sandra's, like, completely in the middle, like, no one's targeting
Oh yeah,
her, and, like, the only fight she had was with, Janelle, the really petty one,
yeah,
but, she really knows she knows what to do, and I can definitely see her, like, winning for sure.
yeah. The control that she has in this episode
Like,
really makes me feel like,
this is a really good episode for Sandra.
yeah, the control she has, it just really makes me feel like she's a lock no matter what. So
Oh, yeah. Sandra talks to the girls in CT, and she tells them to come to the pool table, and she uses pool balls to describe the lions. Peter is the boss protected by Trishelle and Bergie. The others are John and Kevin. There is a row of red balls which represent them. She
yep,
says her theory is that if the traitors are with Peter's group, they are screwed, but if they murder and banish 2 people from their group, they are only 5 against 5. So if the 5 of them want one of them out, they would be outnumbered. Since they'd only be at 4 and they can't let that happen. So what has to happen today without failure for them to get one step further is that one of them has to be banished.
and this is why it's so frustrating because this would have been
I
so
know.
good. This would have been
Oh,
so
I'm so
good. Like
sad.
them, like being literally divided, them going for each other. Oh my god, we were
Mhm.
We were so robbed of getting to see the outcome of this.
It would have been like Peter versus Parvati.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so good.
With Sandra, like, literally being, like, the little finger of it all, like, controlling the whole thing.
Yep. Oh, I wish. Sandra says this is why her knowledge of Survivor helps because she's able to show everyone how the numbers look, how they can be
Exactly.
dissected, how she figured it out, and hopes she can see what she is showing them. The leftovers have to prevail, and that's exactly what they are because they are not with the most faithful of the faithfuls, which is true. Like literally, all alliances seem to be called the leftovers if they're like not the it group.
Someone's been watching Big Brother 24 clearly, because it seems like we have yet another leftovers group.
True.
I mean, I'm here for it, but, like, I just think it's
Same.
really funny that, like, we
Could
have
you
another.
imagine could you imagine, like, Parvati and Sandra and Dan and, like, Taylor Hale and all them aligning?
Well, Taylor's not there, but yeah.
Like, if or and Nicole Franzel too, because Nicole and Taylor, their friendship is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they need to do, like, a Big Brother versus, like, Survivor season, like, immediately for,
That'd
like,
be so
something.
good.
Yeah.
I would love that so much.
I don't know what it would be for, but, like, clearly what we've seen this season, it's like, yeah, that needs to happen.
Honestly, just do a Traitor season with just Big Brother and Survivor.
Yeah. I mean, all I'm gonna say with this, can you just imagine if our 2 winners of the Traitors US, season 1 is Shereé and season 2 is Sandra? Can you
Oh
just
my
imagine that?
god. Literally, because also Sandra won Survivor twice.
Yep.
Suri is an amazing player. Like, that'd be iconic.
Yep.
Parvati asks them why Peter is coming into breakfast all of a sudden, saying she's not a traitor anymore when he was 100% dead set on it, and MJ agrees he put a target on his back. Sandra feels if Peter is the head traitor, they need to take him out, and Parvati says the only way if this works is if every single person votes the same way, and Phaedra agrees they all need to make a decision and stick with it, and it has to be Peter.
Yeah, I mean, this is genius. Like, even because here's the thing, I don't think Sandra believes that Peter is a traitor. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's more so just like Peter's a threat. Peter has to go. And again, this is why it's so annoying, because like this was gonna happen. Like, they were all gonna come together to take out Peter, and
Ugh, I know. Parvati says this is very good for her. Peter thinks he's on his high horse, thinking he's running the show, and she cannot wait to see that smug smile fade from his lips when he gets banished. She will be dancing all her way to the turret. While this is happening, the most faithful of the faithfuls converse, and John asks Peter if Parvati is feeling a bit vulnerable.
I don't think it's Parvati that needs to feel vulnerable this time. I really don't think that's what needs to happen. But yeah, like I said, easily this was the best part of the episode. This was like the part
So
where I was
good.
like, okay, this is gonna
It's
be a great
amazing.
episode. We're gonna get a crazy round table, and well, we'll talk about it, because then we get to the mission here, which wasn't a bad mission. I didn't dislike this one by any stretch, but by any stretch of the imagination. Basically, for this mission, they're going to need to carry gold to the other side of the woods without getting caught. If they get all the gold through the faithful forest, they will add 25K to the prize pot. But for this task, they're going to be going through the woods in pairs. So the pairs are as follows. We have CT and Phaedra, which is obvious at this point if you've
Oh,
been
yeah.
following, what's been going on. Parvati and John, MJ and Kate, Kevin and Sandra, Trishelle and Peter, and Shereé and Bergie. I will just say, Parvati and John is like such a fun, like just quick duo that we
Oh, I
saw. I
love
don't
it so
know,
much.
like I
I wish
really just like seeing
honestly,
those
I
two
wish
work
they would
together.
it'd be iconic if they just, like, recruited John and he accepted.
The problem is John is like so loyal to that side. I don't think he would, especially after this episode.
Unless it's because
So
nobody would expect it, so he can just pin it on whoever.
I don't know. Maybe you never know. But
Yeah. But they're such a wholesome little duo in this comp.
yeah, I enjoyed them. But he also tells them there are multiple bags with each contain different amounts of gold, from small potatoes to big bucks. There's a 10K, a 7K, 5K, 1,500, 1,500, 1,000, and 500. So they then have to decide who is taking each bag. Phaedra and CT immediately take the 500. So if they lose, there is no skin on anyone's back. John and Parvati take the 7,000, and Peter and Trishelle take the 10,000. We don't see who takes the other amount of money, but we do see that
Yeah.
these are the ones that they decide to partake in. So Alan then tells them that at various points throughout their journey, the paths will split. They must choose which path to take based on their questions. Along their chosen route, they will find a scroll. One of them must pick up and read it. If it's correct, they're on the right path and may continue their journey. But if it's wrong, the person who picks the scroll up will be caught in a trap and out of the competition. If both players are caught, they will lose the gold. They're carrying it as well as their dignity if they had any in the first place. They're also up to 2 shields on the line today. The players will make it through the woods will win a shield or shields. So what did you think of this comp overall?
I thought it was a pretty fun one for sure. It was
Yeah.
entertaining.
Mhm.
And just like it had a nice little fun touch to it, like being in pairs and just like seeing all the
Yeah.
different like dynamics, especially and then obviously CT and Phaedra based on what we've heard. That's pretty obvious. I was thinking he'd either be with probably Phaedra or Trishelle for
Yeah.
if he was gonna pick any pairs. Based on like his friendship with Trishelle and as well. But like it was I love the John and Parvati one. Peter and Trishelle pretty obvious. Kevin and Sandra is pretty entertaining. And I don't know, I just thought it was a pretty fun comp.
Yeah, I like seeing them in duos. I really like the idea of like you each get like a certain amount of gold,
Yeah,
and
I love that.
you either get the gold or you get nothing. I thought that was like a fun idea. So yeah, it was a fun comp to watch. But ultimately, Parvati and John, as well as Kevin and Sandra, have banked 800K for the prize pot, and Kevin and Sandra have
You
recruited
forgot to read the
shields.
part. You forgot to read the part before that.
Oh, there's this moment where Peter says Parvati has to hate him after turning down recruitment, so he needs to win a shield to make him feel good. I love that he didn't get it. That was
I
great.
know.
Yeah, him falling in the mud and not getting it was great to
Oh my
see.
god. I will say the funniest part of this comp is Peter and Bergie falling in the mud. I laughed so hard.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
It was so
Um,
good.
Also, I mean, we say this every week, but like, just shout out to the people doing the effects on the Traitors because like that mud looked real. Like it
Oh
looked like they
yeah.
were actually like falling to their deaths in mud. Like they did
It
that
was
so
so
well.
funny.
Um, so
Literally,
basically, Kevin and Sandra have secured.
if I was Peter or if I was like Peter or Bergie's duo on the season, I would have laughed so hard watching them fall in. I'd just be like, amazing. Good job,
Yeah,
guys. Way to go.
right. Hmm. What was I gonna say? So basically, Kevin and Sandra have secured shields, making them ineligible to be murdered. Um, and Parvati this also is worth noting. People have said this. This is basically Sandra's first individual immunity win that she's
Yes.
ever won
As you
in
should.
anything. Yes, she had Kevin, but like I would say Sandra basically did most of the work.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
so
would say
proud of
this is
her.
yeah, this is basically her first individual immunity win. So yeah. Um,
So exciting.
Parvati's then sad her and John didn't get the shield, but she's delayed that Peter didn't get it, and she can't wait to kill him. Alan then tells them that they are not completely out of the woods yet. He has a little surprise for them. And I was like, oh God, what is this going to be?
Oh
So
no.
we get to the post mission. On the way back, Sandra talks to the leftovers, says that they need to survive this banishment and murder. That is the only way they will move forward. CT then finds a bunch of armory which contains a shield, and he goes to show everyone. He's not sure if it counts, but he's willing to give it a try. I thought this was a funny moment where he's just like trying on the shield
Oh,
and
that was funny.
trying to.
Honestly,
Yeah, that was
CT just gives clown vibes.
yeah.
He's just there like vibing.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really funny moment overall. Phaedra then talks to Kate and Parvati, says it has to be Peter this round, and they all seem down for it. CT says that as of right now, if they're in the round table,
Also,
he is going to.
Kate's another one that's just kind of just chilling and just causing shit because she's not really like allies with anybody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she doesn't really need to do much at this point. Like it's so
Vibes.
chaotic. She can just like stay out of it.
Hmm.
So, you know. Um So basically, CT says as of right now, if they're in the round table, he will vote for Peter, but he's open to hear what anyone else has to say. And we see CT actually like cause a little bit of some messiness here with what he decides to do. He goes to Peter, who asks CT if he trusts him. CT set tells him that he's on the block for banishment today, and he's shocked and says that this is the first he's heard of it. CT says he's not going to go into details with all that. Peter says that he has to get down to the bottom of this, and I'm wondering, do you think that CT is going to switch over to like the side with like Peter and Trishelle and Bergie and all of them? Because it kind of seemed like he might do that here.
Maybe. I feel like, I mean, he could, but I also see him just kind of like playing the middle too. He's trying to play like Sandra too. Like he's just trying to like play both sides and double agent.
Yeah. Right, and he's doing very well with that because no one's really coming after him. I mean, if just a couple episodes ago, let's not forget, people thought he was a traitor, and he's now gotten to a point where people trust him so much with information that he's literally able to, tell them, hey, you're on the chopping block and things like that. Like, he's killing it. He really is. So.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very proud of
I think CT and Sandra are locks for the end for sure.
Oh, for sure. So on the way back, I already read that. So we get this moment where Peter then goes to the women saying he's heard that there's a Queen's Council he should be included on, and they deny anything. And he then pulls Phaedra and Parvati aside. And this was a very interesting moment because we know he knows that Parvati's a traitor. And it kind of seems like he's starting to think Phaedra might be a traitor as well here by him doing this. And he asked them if they have any consensus at all or if there's something convincing that they have. Parvati says that she'll just save it for the round table since he will be targeting her anyway. She might as well just speak her piece there. Phaedra says this is the kind of stuff she doesn't like. Peter says they could instead work together. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, Peter, you had a chance to do that. Like you're trying to get to work. You're trying to work with them now. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, they're obviously going to say no to you. And Parvati then asks if he really wants to do that. Phaedra's like not into this at all. She's like, I don't want to be a part of any sort of collusion. I want to be out of this. Like she wants nothing to do with this conversation whatsoever.
She's just like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't want anything to do with this at all. So basically, Phaedra, Parvati says that if she was a traitor, why would he want to work with her? Phaedra's not buying into any of this whatsoever because Peter likes to pull out traps and play the game. He's definitely willing to do anything to win the game. So he is by far the most dangerous player. And it really seems like she is onto Peter at this point. She needs him out of this game. And, like I said, I was so ready for this roundtable. I was so ready to see them go at Peter and just the war of words that would have been exchanged between Parvati and Peter. We probably would have also seen MJ and Kevin go into it just because of what we saw. Trishelle coming for Phaedra, that could have also been a possibility. Like, there's so much that could have happened.
That would have been so good.
Yeah, there's literally so much that could have happened at this roundtable. It would have been so exciting to watch. But all of that is put to rest with this announcement that Alan makes to them, because he tells them that they are to meet him in the woods in 10 minutes. They have no idea what to expect here. Neither did we. And I wish we didn't because of what happens next. But Allie, go ahead.
I will say it is pretty spicy, but I also wish there was a banishment or murder, because I just don't like that. It was like, literally, there was no banishment here. So I was just like, why? Like, what's the point of that? Like, they should have, and it would have been so much more exciting. But like, it was still like entertaining and intense to watch. But I still was like, someone should have been murdered.
It would have been way more exciting if there were actual stakes to it, but the fact that there wasn't is what made it a lot less like interesting to watch. But anyway, let's just talk about what ends up happening: the not banishment and the also not.
I love that you put not round table, not banishment in the notes,
because I didn't know what to call it. Fire chain, like I don't know.
Alan welcomes to the forest and says that tonight there will be no round table or banishment. Instead, they will have the power to change the course of this entire game. He says this evening the traitors will murder once more, but they have the power to decide who will be spared from the fatal blow. And he tells them to look around at their comrades. As soon they will decide who they want to save for murder. By the end of tonight, 5 players will be left at the mercy of the traitors and 1 will be murdered. So Parvati says this is definitely dangerous. She doesn't like not having control, but if she can't banish Peter tonight, she has to murder him.
Yeah, this was just very frustrating to watch. Like, it's not so much the twist itself, it's the fact that this happens and there is no banishment and
Mhm.
there is no round table. I personally think they should have done this and then had a banishment right after. I think that would have been way more exciting.
Yeah.
Really would have like gotten like,
Like, I
people's
just yeah, I just was like, I wish they didn't I just didn't I wish they just made it a banishment or murder instead of non-elimination. It was just, like, the boring thing.
Yeah, it's like we already, because here's the thing, like we already have like the whole point of the shields in like the challenge and like the mission is to avoid the murder. Like you've already had your chance to do that. Making it instead like this whole like safety chain, so it's only like a couple people eligible for murder, just makes the murder like significantly less interesting because you don't have as many options to pull from.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, not a fan of this at all. Don't do this again.
I mean, I mean, I like it didn't if they actually had a murder after.
I don't like it in place of the murder.
Yeah, so if they just have to, like, touch up some things if they do it again.
Yeah, that's really my problem.
Yeah. So Alan tells Kevin Sandra that because they won the murder tonight, the power to save is in their hands. Their torches burn bright, and therefore they are protected. They will have to pick someone to save. So Trishelle says to pick her because she's been stressed the whole game.
She makes like literally the same pitch to everybody. Like the
I
entire
know.
time, she's like, I'm stressed. You know I am. You know that this has been a lot for me. It's like, okay, but like, what do you have for them? Like, what
Yeah,
can
like
you give them to like save you? Like, you have to give them
like
some
what's
kind of
like a
like
really good
assurance. And all
yeah,
you're
like a
doing is
really
like,
good pitch.
yeah, it's like a horrible pitch. It's like just like a sympathy pitch, basically.
Yeah. She's just like, "Save me because I need it."
Yeah, which is like never enough.
Like, you could at least say a reasoning,
Yeah.
not just she's stressed.
Hmm.
She's just so, like, basic.
Yeah.
Peter makes a plea saying in his heart he's a faithful till the end, and it will stay that way, so they should work together to win this.
Oh
There
wow. I'm
there he is again with the, "I wanna win the right way."
yeah, I'm so happy for you, Peter, that you're a loyal faithful and that you're never gonna change course ever. That's such an amazing thing. I'm so happy for you. Wow, that definitely gives
Mhm.
me incentive to save you.
If they have, like, an all-star season and he's there, they should totally just make him a traitor, it'd be so funny.
Honestly, like
I just wanna see him,
if
like,
you do
do
bring
it.
him back, like you force him to be the thing he doesn't want to be.
Please,
That'd be so exciting to watch.
please. Alan Cumming, are you watching this podcast? You know you're not.
He definitely is not. He's got way more important shit going on, but
Peter says his heart rate is going through the roof right now. He thinks he's going to be on the chopping block and hopes they give him a shield. Kevin and Sandra then privately discuss who to save. MJ says she can't at all imagine who they will agree on since it will only be one person, and she feels she's really close with Sandra.
yeah, well, about that.
Anyway, let's get into that. Sandra says this decision is huge. She needs it to be a member of the group that got the majority of the people through keeping their numbers strong. So after discussion, Sandra decides to take on the duty of saving Shereé from murder.
Yeah, which was like super random. I don't think anybody was expecting it. To be honest though, I don't think this was like a bad move for Sandra like at all. I
No, it
think this is
wasn't.
exactly like what she needed to do. Like she was already
Mhm.
working with those women in the first place. So I think as long as she saves one of them, like that's all that matters.
Like but if MJ survives, then they need to do damage control.
Oh yeah.
MJ is very disappointed she didn't choose her. It's very awkward and comfortable and faithful. Shereé must light the torch of the next person she wants to protect. Shereé decides to pick Phaedra, who gets teary-eyed, which was this was like a wholesome moment.
Yeah.
Shereé says she picked Phaedra because she doesn't think people should be targeting people because of the show they're on. She believes she is a faithful, and Alan asks how she's feeling, and Phaedra says emotional.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I understand, like, this is a really big moment for them because I think they had beef, like, in their show, and, like, they were, like, kinda
I
going
think
at each
so,
other
yeah.
for a bit, so, like, this kinda, like, solidifies that, like, we've moved past it, let's
Yes.
grow from this, like, this
Mhm.
this is a really good moment for the both of them.
Oh, yeah, because 'cause they're, like, realizing that they're both, like, mature adults and they can get through
Yeah,
things.
right.
So Phaedra says she has known Shereé for well over 20 years. They have history that no one else understands, so her emotion is about life coming full circle and bringing them here to this moment.
Yeah.
And then Trishelle makes a pitch to Phaedra saying she knows how much she struggles, but it's up to her and she won't hold it against her.
Again, just saying, like, this is a lot for me, please save me.
Honestly, like, just listening to, like, Trishelle's pitches, I'm like, "Girl, I'm losing brain cells."
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, she's just not a good player.
No, she's not. And then what she
Like,
does later on annoys me as well, but we'll get to that.
yeah. Parvati says she's not pleading for her life because she's pretty sure Phaedra will save her anyways. Phaedra then saves CT. I mean, that's obvious
Yeah.
because she has a crush on him.
Uh-huh. And,
Parvati
well, maybe more, I think they're dating, but,
I think yeah, from what we saw, but I mean, who knows?
I guess we'll see at the reunion. I
Yeah,
assume at the reunion they'll say.
I can see that, yeah. I can see the, reunion being very spicy.
Mhm.
So excited. So Parvati finds it strange she didn't light her torch and is now questioning her. So now Parvati's like, "Okay, I don't trust her anymore." I
Which,
mean,
like,
Parvati can trust, like, nobody, like, she's alone.
but the thing is, like, I don't know why Parvati expected Phaedra to pick her, because, like, Parvati's literally, like, public enemy number 1 right now. Like, if Phaedra picks her, it's basically
Yep,
confirming that Phaedra's a traitor. So,
mhm. Yeah,
I
literally,
think
like,
if
I would love
like,
if
if I'm Parvati in this situation, I wouldn't be upset with Phaedra, like, I
Mhm.
understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, Parvati really needs to, like, work on some people because, I mean, she could probably pick up, like, a Kate and stuff, but, like, because she has nobody.
I don't think she can. Kate's literally been on her ass since she walked in the
Yeah.
door.
I mean, she doesn't really have anybody either, but, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. CT says if Phaedra wants to light his torch, he isn't going to be rude and say no, and says it's nice and toasty over here. That was funny.
Yeah, I feel like he's talking about someone else, but, good for him.
I mean, if they if that's what he's talking about, good for them.
That's what I'm saying, like, if it's happening, good for them, but, like, that's what I got from this.
I mean, I'm here for them dating. It'd be cute.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we'll see at the reunion.
Yes. Trishelle says CT and her have 2 decades of knowing each other, so there's no doubt in her mind he isn't going to save her. Well, we'll
And,
see about that.
well,
CT says he's torn between Trishelle and John because he's unsure whether to choose a friendship or someone deems is very important to the faithful.
yeah, this is a huge moment for CT. It's like, do I
Yeah.
choose Trishelle, the person that, like, I've trusted the most and have, like,
Mhm.
tried to make it clear I trust her, or do I trust somebody that's actually, like, really good for my game? And, well, we'll
Yep.
see what he does.
So he ultimately decides to choose John,
Yeah.
saying it's not about friends and he hopes everyone understands.
Yeah, which I think this firmly puts CT, like, in the middle now. Like, you
Yes.
have that group good with him, and then now he has,
Mhm.
Phaedra and people like that that are good with him too. So I think
Yep.
this was really good for CT to choose John
Oh,
here.
yeah. Oh, it was really good. I thought it was really good for him.
Yeah, and it's also like John's just somebody that's not on anyone's radar right now. Like, everyone's good with him.
Since,
Everyone
like, the
seems to like,
beginning, he's, like, now in a really good spot.
yeah,
So Trishelle says she literally feels Alan shot her in the chest with a bullet. She doesn't know whether or to scream, cry, or set CT on fire. She's just completely devastated, and if he's going to burn her like this, at least respect her enough to look her in the eye.
I just didn't understand why she took this so personally. I feel like
Mhm.
CT has
She should
shown you
realize
that he
it's a
has your
game.
back. Yeah, like this doesn't mean he doesn't have your back. It literally just means that like he just like John was more important.
Mhm. Yep. So it is down to Kate, Parvati, Trishelle, Bergie, Peter, and MJ. He asks if any of them want to make a final plea for their lives. Peter makes a plea saying he thinks it's obvious he became an enemy to the traitors and he will be very grateful for him to light his torch.
Oh my god.
Ugh. His is also kind of shitty. It was just basic.
Yeah.
Trishelle makes a pitch saying she's begging for her life. She's been with him since day one. He knows she's a faithful and will continue this game on the same page. It was a little better than her others, but still not great.
I mean, it's again, it's just like the bare minimum. Like she doesn't really
Yeah,
do a good job of showing like why should you save me over
just
like
like
Peter or
it's just her
MJ?
reasonings are not very great or very
Yeah.
good.
It makes you want to not save her.
It's just very half-assed. So Peter says he and John have developed a great friendship, a great trust with each other. He revealed to him early on he was the first person he was 100% confident in. He knows he's an asset so to the faithfuls and he can help them win. He's confident if he doesn't get saved, the traitors will murder him. So Parvati says she needs Peter out of this game, so she's hoping he picks anyone but Peter because he's the star of the faithfuls.
This was so frustrating. He's like, "Oh, the traitors are definitely gonna murder me." Then why didn't you accept? Like, if you had just accepted, you
Mhm.
could have avoided that.
It's so annoying.
It's so stupid.
He's like he really thought he did something there, but nope.
He did. He did.
So John then ultimately decides to save Peter, which is I
Ugh.
will say is probably the most exciting just because it is like entertaining.
Well, it's also like the one thing I will give Peter in this episode is that it was really good for him to pull John aside and for him to be the
Yeah.
first person he told
Mhm.
because it
That was
clearly
good,
like
yeah.
meant a lot to John. Like it's like, okay, Peter fully has my back. Peter's the person I can trust. Like we didn't get any confessionals from John this episode, unfortunately,
I
because all his
know.
confessionals are amazing.
Oh yeah.
But you know, he does end up saving
Can
Peter
John
here, which
just be
was
on
good for him.
Can John just be on more shows, please?
Yeah, get him on like I don't know, get
Get
him
him
on Deal
on
or No Deal Island. Let's get him there.
CBB.
Yeah, if that ever comes back.
Yes. So Peter is so grateful that he had a last minute save from John and he's safe for one more night. He doesn't think the traitors are too happy he made it through that just because he
Oh
thought
my
he was
god,
gone if it wasn't for John.
groans audibly.
Parvati is devastated like rock to her core. John says Peter is mighty clever and he thinks he John says Peter is mighty clever and he thinks he is forensically focused on finding the missing traitors.
Again, just his like dialect is just so
He's
great. I
literally
love it.
just he's so like articulate.
Yeah, it's
Sandra
very
says
fancy. It's very fancy.
oh, it's so good. Sandra says she was looking for what Peter was putting out in terms of his nervousness and anxiety, and there's a chance he is 100% faithful. Trishelle says she doesn't know if she should cry or what she should do. She just knows she's humiliated, and the worst part is that it was CT who did it. She's so against him here with this. Like, she's so mad.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
With Peter picked, this means Trishelle, Kate, MJ, Bergie, or Parvati are eligible to be murdered tonight.
Well,
I mean,
obviously Parvati's not gonna
not
be.
Parvati. She's the traitor.
Yeah,
So
we'll go
unfortunate.
over who we think it's going to be in a little bit because there's a little bit more to talk about here. It's annoying, but there's a little bit more to talk about.
Yeah. So after the lighting of torches, everyone is reeling from how intense it was.
Which this is the only good thing about this twist is that it does get people to like re-question like their alliances and things like
Yeah.
that. But again,
Mhm.
imagine how much more exciting this would be if Alan does this and then says, "Okay, now go into a round table." Like that would have been so good to see. But
I
again, it's
know.
like we don't get it. We're it's like we're not able to get what we want, and it just feels like it just feels anticlimactic. Like you have
It
this
did.
moment, there's this great buildup, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
I know. Ugh. So when the possible murder victims come in, CT asks Trishelle if she hates him, and she says she doesn't think he cares either
Oh
way,
God.
and it doesn't feel good. And he thinks she's more disappointed in him than anything.
Yeah, this was so stupid. I think like
Mhm.
Trishelle could have easily just like moved past this and said like I get it, like I
This was dumb.
understand. Like this was just really stupid. I will say I did love Parvati coming in there and saying, "Well, I guess it feels good to be safe." I thought that was a great moment from her. Like
Oh, that was
she
so
knows
good.
she's like again, like she's not gonna survive much longer, so she's just trying to like antagonize everybody, and
She's just
I'm just
trying to
here for it.
she's just trying to piss them all off.
Yeah.
Trishelle says she just really thought her and CT were turning over a new leaf in their friendship,
But
and
this
in this
doesn't
game
mean you're not.
mhm, and in this game, it just sucks because she obviously thinks they're closer than they are.
Oh my god, I don't understand what the problem was here. Like, just because he
Like, they're
picked
still
John,
friends.
that doesn't negate your friendship. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, but if a game ruins your friendship, it wasn't a strong friendship in the first place. Like, this is so
Mhm.
dumb.
Oh, it's gonna be I can literally see her being better towards him at the reunion.
Yeah, and I'm not excited to see that because I feel like that's definitely what's going to happen. Especially because like this is the main thing we concentrate on is this stupid like right like beef she has with CT for like the
So
rest of the
dumb.
episode.
So so Parvati says she guesses they're feeling good, nice, and safe, which is pretty hilarious.
Yep.
Phaedra says she's not sure how much she can trust Parvati anymore because she's acting icy cold and suspicious.
Yeah, and I don't blame Phaedra for this. It's like how much longer is Parvati going to be on my side? How much longer is
Mhm.
she a liability? So really
Yeah,
it's not looking great for Parvati at this point.
I know. MJ is also feeling hurt, feeling all the people she built relationships with that they ignored her, and she feels disappointed and angry that they just had to stand and watch go down.
See, this I get. Like, I understand MJ's frustration entirely because it's like she thought she was good with people. She thought there were people that were going to save her. She didn't think she'd be one of the last people chosen. Like, her frustration, I get. It's Trishelle's that, like, really annoys me because
Yeah,
she's not trying to
exactly.
say, oh, I don't think we're friends anymore. Like, no, it's just like, I thought I had people on my side and they're not. So, like,
Mhm.
that I get. Trishelle is just pissing me off.
Yeah.
As she has all season, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of her either. MJ says she was nobody's first choice, and that is a tough pill to swallow. Phaedra, Shereé, and MJ ask Trishelle if she's talked to CT, and she says she didn't. He didn't want to talk to her since he didn't. And Phaedra asks if she approached him and asks for them to have a chat. And Trishelle
Oh
asks her if she
god.
needs to, like she's not the one who hurt him. She thinks he doesn't. He just doesn't want to see her and deal with someone emotional.
And Phaedra has a point here where it's like, how is CT supposed to know you're upset about this? You're not coming to him to talk about it. You're shutting him down at every opportunity. Like, you're not talking to him about this. So how is he supposed to know like what the problem is? Like, he can't
Hmm.
just read your mind, you know?
Exactly. Like he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, like just go to him. Just go to him and say I wasn't okay with what you did. Like it's stupid, but like if you're really that upset, like you don't need to wait for him. Like I don't understand her logic here where it's like, "Oh, he needs to come to me." No, he fucking doesn't. Like you can easily come to him about it.
Hmm. So
So,
he
I don't
comes
know,
over
just
and
really annoying.
yeah. He comes over and MJ says to him that he should talk to her because that's what Trishelle wanted, and Trishelle says she didn't want to force him to talk if he didn't want to, and he says
Oh
he
my
did.
god.
And she asks why he didn't come to grab her, and he says it's because he didn't know if he was okay to. And she says she isn't mad at him, she's hurt, and what he says it's not about the game, it's about friendship because if someone has lit her fire, she was going to give it to him, and she just felt like they were turning over a new leaf, and it just upset her.
And again, it doesn't mean you're not. You literally
Mhm.
are.
Literally. He says he does trust her, and she asks why she isn't valued enough to keep her, and if it's because John is smarter, and he says because of what he does and what he's done for a living, is going to be a real asset.
Okay, I will say that was a terrible defense. Like his reasoning like makes no sense. Like,
It was
oh,
kinda
because
that was
John
bad.
has the job that he does, like he's good for us. Like what? Because he has years of like being in British Parliament, like that means that like what are you trying to say that like President Biden would be good for this? Because he wouldn't be like
Can we have, like, all the presidents be on that are, like
please don't. God no. Literally that would end reality TV forever. Please don't.
no, just some of them, just be like just so they can cause shit.
I think we're good. I really think we're good. I get what you're getting at, but like we don't need to
It'd
be
be
doing
so
this.
funny. I'd just be like, "These people are such a mess."
And anyway, I hope you enjoyed a conversation with Kely. We will not be doing we will not be
Yeah,
doing a
and then don't
president's
forget we have to add Justin Trudeau.
we're good. I don't think that needs to happen.
Just do just do just do a political season.
I just don't know anymore. I really just don't know anymore.
You're just so done with me right now.
I yeah.
Wouldn't you be very entertained, though?
I think we should just continue the notes because I don't even want to think of this being a possibility.
Okay.
Like all I think about is like those like videos of like the presidents doing like tier lists and like how that would be like we don't need to be doing this.
Like, President Trump on there would be like, "Just save me because I'm
Okay, anyway,
amazing."
we're gonna move on here.
You love my, Trump impression?
Sure, it was amazing. And you sounded just like him.
Yeah, I'm Trump and I'm amazing. You should save me. I deserve to be saved over everyone
What are you,
else.
some like bland surfer dude on like Big Brother? Like what is that impression?
It's the Trump impression.
That's very accurate. Wow.
I was trying to, imitate how Emily impersonates him.
It's so good. It's so good.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, please, God. Oh my God. Ugh. We've lost control. We've lost control.
I have no self-control sometimes.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
would say that.
she says she truly felt he valued her, and he says he did, and she says it didn't seem that way tonight.
It's so stupid.
Trishelle says it sucks to feel like she's caring more about a friendship than another person does. And then CT says tensions are high and it's not anything personal, but as a friend, he never would put someone in a position where they had to choose a friendship or a game.
Literally, like that's what she's doing. Like she's telling him
Mhm.
like our friendship's more important. And again, he never said he doesn't want to be friends with her. It's literally just he chose John because John was better for his game. Like you need to
Mhm.
respect that. I don't understand what the problem is
She
here.
should respect
Um,
that. Also,
you know, you have a point, but like
Jack Law 2.0 said self-control is overrated.
you have a point, but like Ali needs to be stopped. We're not doing a politics reality scene. That's not no, that's not something we need. Like I think there's a line that we don't
Okay, no,
cross, but I think we
it'd be
crossed
like
it.
politics versus Survivor versus Big Brother.
You literally would destroy reality TV, but yeah, sure,
Oh, it'd be
we'll be
so
fine with
funny.
that. I just no, we don't need to be doing this. Okay. So we get to the Traitors turret here. This was the other part of the episode that I thought was really strong. I did like the Traitors turret in this episode. Kate says that going to bed after a human sacrifice ceremony, she thinks it might be her last night in the castle. Trishelle says that she's 100% sure she's going to be murdered and thinks she's probably the most expendable to at least her friends in the game. I'm just sick of Trishelle at this point. If this is the last we get of her, I will not be complaining at all.
Same.
So Phaedra then says that tonight will be a huge decision because there's not that many people to kill. Parvati mentions how huge of a twist this was to Phaedra, and Phaedra says that she was worried about her. She's got to stop acting like an ice princess. She asks if she needs to be nicer. Phaedra says she gives off Mean Girls a bit, and she starts imitating some faces that she's been making, and this
That
was
was
great.
so good.
I love
That
this
was so
moment.
funny.
just Phaedra has this like innate ability to like be so blunt, but never do it in a way that's like condescending or like
No, she
mean.
just
It's
she's
very
just
like it's
like,
very direct,
she's very direct, she's very blunt, she just tells it like it is.
but she does it in a very like loving manner. Like it's like
Yeah.
I want you to be in this game, but this is
She
what
loves
you're doing
everybody.
wrong. Like she holds nothing back, you know?
Yeah, like, she's somebody who loves them all.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that I think this is definitely one of the things that she's done the best this season. Again,
Yeah.
just Phaedra, just constant like quote machine in this show,
Oh, yeah,
constant just like
queen.
iconic moments like from her. This is another great one. She says that she's either an Iron Maiden or an Ice Princess. Um, Parvati
So
says
good.
every time she walks into a room, people stop talking, which is true. It's kind of hard for her to have any sort of sway in the game right now. So Phaedra says she's just going to have to be more lovable and soft in her heart. Parvati says that the atmosphere in the turret has intensified. She feels like Phaedra would throw her under the bus if it keeps her safe, so she may need to keep an eye on her. Parvati says that she really wanted to kill Peter tonight and is annoyed that they can't do it. And Phaedra says that Peter is such a strong influence and is a real gang leader. He acts like he's in the mafia. And Parvati says that he's got a lot of henchmen following him around, doing whatever he says, and she wants him out of her castle.
Yep.
So we get this moment where they weigh out their options a little bit. Parvati mentions how Kate is someone no one suspects is a traitor, so she may be a good person to recruit in case they get the opportunity again.
Yeah.
This makes me feel like she's like the least person. She's the person that's like least likely to be killed at this
I
point. I
feel like
don't think
she
it's
would
going to be
I
Kate,
feel like she would be, like, the easy person to kill, but I don't think she would go.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
incentivize them to do it. Like she's on
Mhm.
their side with like the Peter thing and things like
Yeah.
that. So like it makes sense to keep her
I could
around for at
I don't
least the
know
time
why, but I
being.
could see Kate being, like, maybe one of the last people to be murdered, kinda like the Stephanie.
She honestly might get the same placement she did last season at this point. I don't
Oh,
know.
I
We'll
could see
see.
it.
Yeah. Because what did she get? Like, I think she got fifth last season.
I
Yeah.
believe
So,
so. I have to look again.
yeah, I think it was fifth. Um,
Yeah.
so Bergie is, she talks about how Bergie is Peter's yes man. MJ's a sweetheart who won't ever be up for banishment, and so they can't use her as a shield, so they may actually want to murder her. She asks her why they'd want to murder Trishelle. Phaedra says because she's in Peter's pals, she's one of his cronies, and they can't trust her. Parvati says that this will be their first kill in a while. Phaedra says she hopes they made the right decision tonight because this is a big one. Parvati says that she really hopes this is the right decision. It could put an even bigger target on her back, so she's really hoping it's the right thing to do. Her anxiety is peaking. She feels she's on her own. Phaedra warns her that there are people who really think she's a traitor, and she hopes this doesn't add any more suspicion. This really makes me think that like they did murder one of the Peter pals. I think that's
Yeah.
probably what happened here.
I could
Let's just
see it.
like
I feel like it's gonna be Trishelle or MJ.
just based on the edit. No, I don't think it's MJ. I don't think
I
they
mean,
murdered
I don't
MJ.
know.
I think
Yeah,
it's either I think it's Trishelle. I really think it's
I could see it
Trishelle.
being Trishelle.
Because Phaedra's not gonna let Bergie get murdered. I think that
Unless they
Bergie's
want to, like, get rid of his yes man.
I mean, yeah, but like that's her Burgalicious, she's not gonna let that happen. So
Yeah, she's like why do I see Phaedra, like, going to, like, an ice cream shop and making, like, an getting, like, an ice cream named af called the Burgalicious.
that'd be funny. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think right now it's a pretty safe bet that it's Trishelle just based on the edit that we got.
I
I
think
think that's
so.
probably where this is headed. But
Mhm,
we'll see what ends up happening
we'll
here.
see.
But we get to the postmortem. I don't even think it's worth talking about, to be honest,
I
but
mean,
we
we
talk
should
about
still
every
do
week,
I mean, we do,
so
just 'cause we don't it's not long.
we might as well. I don't know why they even did a like bother doing a postmortem this week because they had almost nothing to talk about.
Because there was no banishment or murder, so it was just, like, simple, like, shit.
Well, the weirdest part about it is that I don't know if you noticed, like there were scenes they alluded to, like in the like, see what you catch up with the traitors after they were murdered, like and they didn't even show it. Like there was a moment where Parvati was talking about how like she was annoyed by like not being picked and things like that, and they didn't
Yep.
even get to show it. So I don't know why they even bothered like doing this. So,
Mhm.
but
Oh,
anyway,
I
let's talk
accidentally
about this.
also, I accidentally got out of the, dock, so I had to reopen it.
All right, let's talk about this very strange postmortem.
Oh, hold on. All right. So it starts off with Parvati says she tried to recruit Peter because he's so clever, so she'd rather have him on her side. Also, he had been gunning for her, so if she had recruited him as a traitor, he would have to stop coming for her and work with her, or would have to throw her under the bus. So either it was a risk thinking about recruiting him, but she felt it was the most fun of the options at the time. And then as traders, they want to either eliminate people from the game or have them working for them. And Peter saying no is not good for them. It gains them nothing. And the more people in the game who are faithful and less traders, they have less to cover.
Yeah.
So she didn't know Peter would take the moral high ground and be so sanctimonious and say no to being a traitor.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god,
So annoying.
shake my head. She thinks her only move now is to put Peter in the crosshairs and show how sneaky he's being and see that if that could lead to him being a traitor.
Yep.
Phaedra says the heat was on Parvati and she needed her to make her own decision, and she thought recruiting Peter was absolutely insane, but wanted her to save her life, wanted to support her in any decision. But Peter didn't accept, so they lost the recruitment.
I do think it's really funny that, like, Parvati warns Dan, doesn't listen. Phaedra warns Parvati, Parvati doesn't listen. I think that's really funny the way that's been happening this season.
Mhm.
All right, so for some reason, the rest of this episode shifts entirely to Kate's perspective, and I don't know
Which is like,
what.
why?
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to do this. If this was like they wanted to show this when Kate
Like,
entered.
honestly, they could have just made it short, just short. Like, instead of having Kate, they could have just ended with Parvati and Phaedra talking.
Yeah, it felt like they wanted to include something from the, like, human sacrifices, but, like, one, Kate has not been murdered, so this doesn't make
Mhm.
sense to show. Two,
Yep.
half of what she talks about in this episode literally happened 3 episodes ago, so I don't understand why.
Maybe it was just to, like, get her her perspective because she is new, so maybe they just wanted to see, like, her
But
thoughts.
they didn't do that with any of the other faithfuls. So,
I
like, I don't
know. It's
understand
so
why
weird.
this was specifically for Kate. So this was just a really weird, like, if they were gonna do this with her, do this on episode 5 when she's
Yeah,
introduced. Like, I don't
exactly.
understand why they did this. So
Mhm.
Kate says that once she arrived at the castle, it was beautiful, but she was thinking, what the hell was she doing here? They are now halfway through the game and it's intense. She thought it was kind of like a comedy. She had to stop herself from laughing out loud because these people are characters. The Speaker of the British Parliament would CT from real world, and they barely speak the same language. She guesses the fact that she's coming in this season is also an advantage because she has fresh eyes. They are so in it, they are letting small things trip them up. She then talks about how they all felt when they found out there was no roundtable or banishment. She was a little disappointed because she loves a good roundtable and she didn't know what it was
I
going
was
to
also
be.
disappointed. I love roundtables.
Me too, especially this episode. So she said, "Oh, I will take that later." But she says that she knew. Hold on, where is it? Oh, she says that she didn't know what it was gonna be, but she knew it could bring her close to the chopping block, whereas a round table, she felt pretty safe. She talks about how a sacrifice was not good for her because she hasn't been around long enough to solidify bonds with people, while others who are eligible to be murdered had them way before the castle, like CT and Trishelle. She happen just because, unlike last time she was here, there are two clear teams. The castle is divided, and she thinks the sacrifice is what mixes them up. And she says the most shocking moment was Shereé picking Phaedra, feeling she made it too obvious with the Bravo alliance, but also thinking maybe they have a secret alliance within it. She thinks after this sacrifice, alliances that once existed are now shattered. It can change that much from day to day as traders, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the game plays out from here. She compares it to people having their feelings hurt that they weren't picked for a kickball game. And again, that's how we ended this. I just thought this was a really weird note to just a really weird pivot. Like, we start
You
with
know
the
what?
traitors,
Honestly,
that
what
made sense.
it would have made more
Um,
sense if they just had like, because instead of just Kate, they could have just had all like everyone's perspective, like all the people that were up for murder.
yeah, that's what I thought they were gonna do. I
But
thought it was
plus, of
gonna.
course, like obviously the traitors, but like the rest of the people that are up for murder.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna cut to, like and yes, it is a
Sounds like
very
a
fun
fun show,
show.
and
I
also like
definitely
reality
do
TV.
recommend it.
So great.
I think
You'll
if
love
you're
it.
even if you're not into reality TV, I think The Traitors is one that everybody can get into because
The
I've said before, like
Traitors the Traitors and Claim to Fame you'd love.
no, I think I mean, I what I was gonna say is I think The Traitors is easy to get into because everyone
Yeah.
loves mafia, so I think it's
Oh,
easy
yeah,
to
yeah,
just, like, get
definitely.
into that.
And, like,
But,
everybody loves, like, murder mystery stuff and things
yeah.
like that, like, it's so entertaining and fun.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, overall, I think we said what we needed to. I think this was just a very disappointing episode. Started off really great. All the stuff we got with like Sandra and that group, and then want to take
Yeah.
out Peter. What's frustrating now is I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do it because it seems like everyone's on to
I
Parvati
know.
now. So I really don't know what's going to happen here, and especially
We'll
if
see.
they murdered one of the Peter pals, like I don't even know if Peter's gonna go. I think it's gonna be Parvati that goes. So yeah, I don't know how it's gonna play out. I don't know why they made this decision. I'm gonna say if they do this twist again, you need to do it followed by like a round table. That would have been way
Yeah.
more spicier. It felt very anticlimactic with the way they went about it, and I just
Mhm.
wasn't really a huge
Yeah.
fan. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like,
really
they can
my two
like,
cents
it's
on
fine
this.
if they have this again, they just need to, like, follow it with the round table as
Yeah, they
well,
do.
and even follow it with a murder as well, like,
Right.
um or maybe they can do this as, like, as the maybe, like, they do the safety chain at the beginning of the episode kind of thing and have, like
Yeah.
and then they have, like, the banishment and murder.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely how they should do it. But
Mhm.
yeah, other than that, I mean, I think we said what we needed to. I really think it's Trishelle going. I think that's
I think so
probably the
too.
most likely outcome, but we will
Yeah.
have to see how it
I
all
don't
plays
yeah,
out.
I don't think it'd be Bergie, I don't think it'd be Kate, so yeah,
No.
it's either Trishelle or MJ in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. But do you have anything else to say about this episode before we wrap this all up?
I mean, obviously, I still thought it was a strong episode, just needs,
Yeah.
like obviously, the safety chain just needs some touch-ups, and, like,
Like I
I
said, for first 30 minutes were great. Like
yeah.
everything, prior to Alan saying, "Oh, we're not doing a banishment," was great.
They just need to touch that up next for season 3 if they have it again, but other than that, I mean, it was still a good episode, I just wish there was a banishment and or murder, but, I mean, I still thought it was pretty strong, definitely not
But Ali, we
not
did
the
get a
best.
murder. We did get a murder. We got the murder of Larsa and Marcus's relationship. So I don't know what you mean. There
That's
was a
true.
murder this week.
Ryan, I'm actually kinda shook they broke up because
Me too.
this
That was not something
reunion
I would have expected, and so close to the reunion too.
this reunion's gonna be so spicy and, like,
Yeah,
intense.
yeah. I don't know if that's gonna come up at all. But we'll
Mhm.
see. Who knows if they're even gonna be there? So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I'm hoping everyone's there just because we want the like, because 'cause it'd be very entertaining.
yeah, seeing Johnny Bananas like confront Dan, ugh, would have been
Um,
gonna be top tier. Gonna be
I
top
would see
tier.
I could see him confronting both Parvati and Dan.
Yeah, but he's most mad at Dan. Like, I don't know, like he's put it like solely onto Dan, even though it was like all of their decisions. It wasn't just Dan's.
Mhm. Yep.
Anyway, yeah, things to plug real quick. We are going
Obviously
to be
yeah, we'll be doing oh, go ahead.
next week, not this week, but next week, we are going to be doing our cast assessment for Survivor 46 coming up
Yay.
very soon. Very
And
excited
then,
for
yeah,
it.
we'll obviously do our cast assessment and draft like usual, but we're also gonna do a draft with our friends. Either if I mean, if they can get on like a call or like for like if they can get on our podcast, we'll do a live one. But if not, we'll just do it with them like over text and just talk about it on here.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be exciting. And
Yes,
obviously
and the one thing I don't think we talked about, the first 2 episodes are 2 hours long, so our podcast
so
will probably
good.
be 3 hours long as a result.
I'm excited. Hopefully we're
So,
both available to do them live that night those nights. Like
yeah, we'll
if
see.
I don't have anything planned, I'll definitely be able to.
Yeah, we'll see, and then also, stay tuned for, I'm hearing it's actually pretty good, Deal or No Deal Island. I'm hearing
Yay!
good things about it, actually, so we'll
Is there gonna
see. It
be
might
like
actually
a is
turn
there
out to
gonna
be a good
be
show.
is there gonna be any cast assessments like for it, or are we just gonna go in blind?
I mean, who do we know besides Kim, Bettina, and Boston Rob?
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I
also,
mean, I was also
there's
thinking if we do get the cast, I mean, we don't have to do an assessment, but we could do a little mini draft.
we do have the cast for it.
Oh, okay. So I mean, we
And
can do a cast.
also Claudia Jordan. That's the only other
Oh,
person that people would know.
we can. I mean, we
Um,
could do a cast assessment as well and draft.
maybe we'll see. We'll see.
How many people?
I'm looking right now. I'm not sure how many, but yeah, we
Okay.
could potentially do one. But yeah, look forward to that. I'm here, like I said, I'm hearing it's actually pretty good. People seem to like the preview that was released like a few
I'm
weeks ago.
excited.
So
We
maybe
need to
it'll
watch
actually be a
that.
good show. I don't know. We'll see. But
Hopefully.
yeah, other than that, that's pretty
Oh, it
much
says
it.
here. It says here 13 contestants.
Okay. So probably
Okay,
13 episodes because I assume someone
probably.
leaves every week. But
I can see that, yeah.
yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much all we need to say about the Traitors. We're nearing the end. We only have a couple
I
episodes left of this.
know.
It's kind of crazy, but I'm excited to see
We're gonna
how
be
it.
doing so much coming up too. We're gonna have the rest of this, Deal or No Deal Island, Survivor, and Big Brother Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, if it has feeds, I'm not watching if it doesn't have feeds, but yeah.
I mean, we
Um,
should still do I mean, maybe we'll still cover it, but hopefully bring those
I
feeds
don't
back.
really want to because like I don't feel like we're getting the full story, you know.
I know. We'll
But
see
we'll
though.
see. They haven't said anything about if it's gonna have feeds or not, so we'll have
Oh,
to see.
I
But
hope they bring those back because that's important.
well, yeah, nobody watched last season because of it, so they
Mhm.
definitely
The only
should.
ones
But
literally the only people who watched were podcasters
yeah, that's it. But
and casual.
yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know, of course, what you guys are thinking about the Traitors and all that stuff. Very much loving the season. Not the hugest fan of this episode, but does not at all change how this season is. But that's really it for this video.
Sometimes
Hope
it
you guys
really is
enjoyed
who
it.
you want stuff to with over what you watch.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's
True.
true. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.
Bye, guys.